Well, hello there. Hey, we're back again. Now we're focusing. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Florentine Renaissance. Now, let me move this. I am actually one of my chairs does have pretty much a Florentine look to it, more Baroque actually, but we'll talk about that. So now about the Florentine Renaissance or the Italian Renaissance. Really, you have two major competing circles. You have Venice up in the north, led by Titian, who likes painting a lot with chiaroscuro and dark, smoky colors. And in Florence, you have the patronage of the Medicis. And the Medicis will do something extraordinary with their artists. They will form intellectual salons. They're a banking family. They're not nobles, they're not aristocrats, but they become such a center to the civic life of the Republic of Tuscany or the city state of Florence with its province of Tuscany around it, that they will actually, Lorenzo the Magnificent will be declared duke or dictator, like the leader, the Führer, the El Duce. Actually, the El Duce develops like that. And with the trade, it's just like in the Northern Renaissance and in the Italian city states, it's the merchant class. The concept of bank, meaning banco, you sit outside the palaces and you sit outside because these palaces are really banking houses. You have to get a loan if you want a nice little farm. You want to, you're a member of the Painters Guild or the Pharmaceutical Guild, and you have to go and get loans from them. So what you do is the artists such as Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, these guys start hanging, getting their patronage, and they develop a school basically like a grad school, not a bachelor's where you get or a license where you get your Lord College degree, and they're not being, they're going to what's called the academy. It's still there. You just have to have a Lord degree, either a bachelor's from the United States or you have to have a licensure from a university, a lower college degree, our version of the American bachelor's degree. And when you work, you can work on your master's in architecture painting. And it's first led by Michelangelo da Vinci uh, under the patronage of the Medicis. And they all agree that it's light. Raphael's the youngest out of these good guys. Donatello puts a lot of mannerism and sculpture in his David, which is the bronze one. Michelangelo will do his own David that's still there. There's copies outside the city, but the original one is in the Uffizi Office Museum. Uffizi meaning office. It was the private circular office, upstairs offices of the Medici that went from their country estate outside the hills all the way downtown. They didn't have to travel by carriage. And they will accumulate so much power that will make themselves like princes of the city after some problems. A lot of bloodletting makes The Godfather 2 look like a little Girl Scout story. Anyways, the patronage developed this. Now, I talked to you guys. I really would like you guys to watch that movie, The Agony and the Ecstasy, and do the worksheets so you can understand the culture, like the patronage of the Sistine Chapel, the ceiling panels. Okay, the architecture of the building's terrible. People used to call it a barn. It's the ugly building. If you look at it at the outside, the beauty's inside. And it took the Pope Julius II forcing Michelangelo to be a painter. He's a sculptor number one. He ends up being he replaces like the third architect that takes over the project of rebuilding St. Peter's Basilica and the Vatican Hill complex. The popes, although they rule in Rome, it is their capital city. They want to rebuild it after a horrible dark period. They want to create a stronger patrimony of St. Peter for the Catholic Church because they're competing with these new monarchs, hunger power national regimes like this France, Spain, the Kingdom of Portugal, England, the Holy Roman Germanic Empire, although it's a confederacy, the Habsburgs, who rule both in Spain and Germany, also are taking over the kingdoms of Bohemia and Hungary, giving them a power source. And with this, they start accumulating artists themselves, just like the Florentine Medicis. Now, what's the distinction between the Venetians and the Florentines? Well, the Florentines focus on bright colors. They use complementary colors to create the shadow. They add a little bit of chiaroscuro black, but they don't make it as smoky as the Venetians. The Venetians have the paintings a little bit darker. Now we also will have from the Venetian school, we will have architecture, Palladio. If you just look at Thomas Jefferson's Monticello, Palladio built his Villa Rotonda with the dome way before Jefferson, or Chiswick House in England. His pupil built the Prizzi House, which is a similar copy, much better design, but the original one the old dome will influence Il Duomo in Florence. There's just something about the Florentine Renaissance. They were warmer color. Maybe it's the light in Florence compared to the cloudier, wetter climate of northern Italy in Venice. So when you're reading through the section or through the chapter book, which you should have done last week, but it's okay. Um, just try. Let me know when you want to watch the movie. Second, let me talk to you about the AP test. It's not going to be matching. It's going to be short response answers. It will be on May the 15th. You will take the test from home if you didn't watch the video, which I sent you guys last Friday. So you're going to watch the video. Let me tell you just a brief what's going to happen to us AP history, folks. It's going to be a small response answer for the question. If you have to go to the bathroom, you will have a clock on your computer monitor. They're gonna ask you first to have internet access at home, which you do. You can use either if you're using the public school Chromebooks, that will work. If you have your own computer at home, or your parents can loan you the computer during your AP exams, that will work as well. They understand that the high schools in California are closed for you. That's part one. Part two, what's been taken out? I talked to a lot of you guys, Ivan, the Lopez sisters. Sorry, I don't mean cluster two ladies together, but and Charles. 20th century is out. There were a lot of teachers here in the West Coast, myself included, when we were on the Twitter meeting about how we were focusing early on, and some of us we were lucky enough to go to the Broad Museum. There's a possibility that there will be 21st. There's definitely going to be the 21st century, such as Basquiat, Jeff Koons, everything we saw at the Broad, especially our favorite American Persian artists. You know who I'm talking about. The calligraphy on her face and guns. She has a mixture of both her culture back east from Iran, as well as the Southwest loving for guns. Let's just leave it at that. But also Karen Walker, Darky Town Rebellion. We saw a version, part of her work there at the Broad. I know it still kind of creeps me out a bit, but hey, it's art, I know, uh, you know, personal Catholic guilt, I guess. But again, it will go in there. There will be early African history. I am covering in the Baroque Latin America. I'll tell you why. Because the Baroque is kind of odd. It's coming out of Mannerism and Renaissance. But you have to remember there's a triangular trade between America, Native American cultures of America. That's why I'm doing the Native American Indian art with the early African art and the Western European, the triangular trade. So that will influence our Latin American, or I prefer calling it colonial Baroque art, because it influenced Brazil, France. It comes back to the Europe, the influence. You see it in there. If you go to Versailles, you will see statues of Louis XIV throughout Paris and in Versailles. And you see statues of America, Africa, Asia. Asia's kind of been subdivided. They refer to it as the Orient. Now, don't think of it as being a bigoted word. The Orient was a different term for the East. The West was known as the Occident. But anyways, that's why it's so important. Now, coming back to the AP test. So the Baroque will definitely be on there. Latin America, everything we covered on Southeast, South Oceans, South Pacific, the three cultures. That's definitely gonna. For now, what I know, I'm gonna attend another meeting this week. That's another debate, but it's definitely South Pacific's gonna be there. Early African cultures, Neolithic, Paleolithic, Roman, Greek, uh, Gothic, Muslim art. I do have to cover the Renaissance, which we did this weekend. A lot of you guys did really good work. I want you guys to focus mostly on the essays, because your test will be short response writing. It's not going to be matching. It's going to be short response and the essays. Um, I'm going to log in again for the meeting tonight, and definitely or review what they have agreed. So on College Board. So if you have any questions, about the AP tests, furthermore questions, some of you guys already talked to me. Don't worry, but if you do, please meet me on Google Meet tomorrow. I will be there from 11 o'clock till 1:30, although it's not my official. Also, I emailed you guys that Mrs. Brown's going to have your portfolios tomorrow. Please, please, please go pick them up. It'll be the last day. After that, we're closed. We can't pass those portfolios back. I'm not even allowed on campus. Miss Brown has some kind of, I don't know, kind of, she used to work in an ambulance company. She used to ride them. So she has kind of a thing. She's not going to talk to you guys. She's just going to go ask your name, point to the box, and have you sign off on the list and all that. She also sent me last minute change of schedule. But again, if you need to talk to me on Google Meet. I won't be wearing any of these weird outfits. Maybe I will. You never know. So please, it's not the classroom hours, but please look at Google Classroom. Look at the assignments for the Baroque. I apologize that I have not put in the chapter book. I do have the workbook, but not the chapter book. I will put that in. And these dreadful videos, you will watch me in costumes just for you guys. I need to stick to the schedule. So please focus on. I still need your annotations, but please focus on your essays. It's a good exercise for that. Review your workbook, which is our Barron's workbook. Do the questions, the 5 questions after each unit. Please do the short essay response. Please read my comments when I pass them back to you, because I am going through their rubric, not just the code Barron's rubric, but also the rubric that's being asked by them. And that's it. I hope you have a good night, get rest. I know it's a very uncomfortable time, but we'll get through this. Okay, guys? Take care. Good night.